established by Article 50 of our Constitution is the Uganda Human Rights Commission, charged with the mandate to, particularly enforce and ensure that the human rights principles for which we stand for as a country and as a globe are actually enforced and implemented. Several petitions have been filed before this commission. The question remains as to whether they actually go to the route of investigating and getting, these cases disposed in a speedy, fair, process of trial, and whether really it is a destination for justice. The Honorable Bobi Wine did file a petition challenging the acts of police in seizing his, merchandise. And, yesterday we saw a clash between the chairperson and Bobi Wine, and that led to the official withdrawal of his suit. But the bigger question is with regards to the effectiveness and the powers of the Uganda Human Rights Commission, and we shall discuss that. Phase 2, we shall talk about our very ambitious 72 trillion financial year budget for the next financial year. Wow, this is a huge step, because from 54 to 72 is what, 18 trillion extra? And you compare that with the economy and how things are going, I don't know. We are headed for tough times as a country. But well, we shall talk about that. And to put this into perspective, viewers, I'm joined by a panel of distinguished young people. And in no particular order, it's my pleasure to introduce them to you. From Makerere University, particularly the School of Law, is Allan Aijuka. Allan also serves as the chairperson of the Students' Guild Tribunal. Allan, always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you very much, Comrade Kidega. It's such an opportunity to be back here to share with my youth out there.
We are pleased to have you. Next to myself is a gentleman who needs no introduction, but I'll just, I'll introduce him nonetheless. Kato Laban is the name, a graduate of Economics from Makerere University. I don't know if he's still a member of the ANT Youth League. He will tell us. But I know that he serves on the National Youth Council in the district of Kampala. Kato, it's always a pleasure to have you.
It's a great pleasure to be here once again. I know there are several times that I've been here to debate issues surrounding our country. I'm always privileged to come here for this important discussion. Yes.
We are very happy to have you always. Next to Kato, and the only lady on the show this afternoon is Doris Shekinah. Doris is a student of International Relations at MUBS. Doris, happy to have you for the first time on the show.
Thank you, Mr. Kidega. It's my first time here on the show, and I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, we are pleased to have you. Yes, Allan, let's begin with the first topic, which is the Uganda Human Rights Commission. And really, the question for me is its effectiveness, because they'll tell you that Honorable Kizza Besigye filed a case almost 10 years ago. He's still waiting for a decision. So when you look at the Human Rights Commission, with the way it is laid out, can it render justice?
Well, thank you very much. In my second year, we were doing some research, administrative law. We were evaluating administrative authorities. So we visited Uganda Human Rights Commission. That was part of our research. But to understand how does this operate.
Yeah.
So the Uganda Human Rights Commission operates as a tribunal. It has a tribunal, the Uganda Human Rights Commission Tribunal, that has the mandate to make the decisions, whereas it has the broader aspects upon which it operates. But under Article 50 of the Constitution, it is given mandate, of course, primarily that mandate to deliberate human rights issues vests in the High Court.
Yeah.
But there are those pertinent issues that can be handled by the Commission and decided by the tribunal. Its composition and so on is also, there are so many questions to answer. But what is before us is an incident that happened where a prominent politician, midway the proceedings, acts in a manner in which the chairperson feels that it is not tolerable before such a tribunal. I chair a tribunal. And when during a hearing, people will, emotions will rise. Someone wants to prove not by fact, but by an emotion. Someone wants to go political. Someone wants to turn, to prove a point rather than, if, when you're coming to a court of law or a tribunal, what is fundamental is that you have had your conflict somewhere or something has happened somewhere and the two of you have not agreed. So you're involving a third party. That's what happens before a tribunal or such a human rights commission.
Yeah.
So the expectation is that the two of you should be guided by the third party to come to a conclusion. But in an incident like that of Chagulanyi, of course, he looks at these things as if he has a higher stake.
What if the third party has proven all the allegations of bias and unfairness? Then can we still say that this is a tribunal before which we expect a fair outcome?
I don't know whether bias can be proven by the fact that someone, your indiscipline has caused you to be, suspended from a hearing. Because in any court, no matter how good your case is, provided you do not, maintain decorum, have respect, the way you address the third party, because that third party has, of course, they have an obligation to you. But at the same time, you are there so that you are guided to come to a conclusion. They do not make the conclusion for you. But from what you deliberate on, the manner in which you deliberate guides to the conclusion. And sometimes when you yourself, the conduct that you're coming up with is killing your own case, then at the end of the day, they will actually sometimes asking you to move out can even help your case. Because out of emotions, you might destroy your own case. But for the issue of the Uganda Human Rights Commission, so many questions have been raised. When you read the Human Rights Commission reports and you see the number of cases they have decided, and when we visited, we were given the annual report that time, and then the ones that are pending, you realize that a few are decided, but then there are so many that are still pending. In my opinion, what I would say, of course, with due consideration of what happened with Chagulanyi, is that there is an expectation of an expedient process, an expedient process that involves all parties, that the decision shall be reached as fast as possible. But in an event that the circumstances are causing such frustration, and these are the kinds of circumstances when politics come in, when you are to make an impartial decision as a quasi-judicial arm or body, and then there is a phone call, there is a letter, there is an email, there is a WhatsApp message, it causes commotion. Now, tactically, judicial officers will, at the end of the day, delay the process in adjournments, or they will not call the case for hearing and so on. We visited Ruzira of recent, and the biggest issue was that people can be on remand for over a year and nothing. When they come to court, the judge will be there, or the magistrate will be there.
When the prosecution is not
they will
ready
not
to
hear
present
them.
witnesses.
They will just adjourn.
Yeah.
Or the prosecution will raise some claims, we are still investigating and so on. And all these still affect the Human Rights Commission. The appointment process, who is appointed, the procedure, who appoints, those are the questions you have to raise. At the end of the day, people will feel insecure, as it so happens that even the judiciary, people will say that the judicial officers are appointed not on merit, but they're appointed on the basis of, political inclination, or who is going to make a decision in my favor. And I think, not to say conclusively, but that too might affect the decision-making power, and, it can affect those kinds of political engagements that they might have. The environment we are in as Uganda, when it comes to issues of fairness and justice, you cannot rule out the presumption of bias. In law, you would not presume bias because it is something that you must prove strictly. But when it comes from the process within which you appoint someone, the precedents that we have over political related cases or cases relating to politicians and how they have been concluded, then people will start losing trust on the basis of the fact that if such a person was appointed by the president or through a certain procedure that involves politics, then at the end of the day, I do not expect justice. But in my opinion, what happened before the tribunal was not even relating to the decision that was to be reached. It was a matter of accepting the fact that someone misbehaved. And that is discretion for the judicial officer to determine.
Okay.
Yes.
Fair enough. I think we shall get to examine that in a bit. Doris, let me just hear your own opinion. What transpired? Someone comes before a tribunal hoping to get justice, and then they instead end up withdrawing their complaint. The same individual did the same thing before the Supreme Court, filed a petition, but then later on came on to... So, I don't know, how do you evaluate it vis-a-vis the actual need to enforce human rights, which is a key issue as well.
So regarding how Honorable Chagulani acted in the court, I think we have to go back to the drawing board and ask ourselves why he acted in that way. So when we understand that this case has been in court since 2018 till yesterday, Monday, it means that there's been a lot of adjustments, do this, come here, go there. And I feel like this time when he asked through his lawyer, Counsel Musisi, he asked that he would say something. And when he was given the opportunity, I feel like he just wanted to blast out all the information he had inside. Like he's like, you've denied me for a while to say something. Now that I've gotten the opportunity to say it, like hear it from me, which went overboard and brought a lot of indiscipline. But we understand that it came from an emotional point of view, not from a sensitive, like a logical point of view, but it came from a very emotional point of view where he just wanted to say out whatever he wanted to say out. And he was saying it to a lady who was as well. Women are naturally emotional, so the woman also didn't take it from a good point of view. So it brought about a clash, but we have to really have it in mind that this gentleman, Bobi Wine, has been seeking out for this. So I think even in his mind, he kept saying, if they don't give me this, I'll act in this way. Maybe he had already planned to do it before, but now that he was given the opportunity to say something, whatever he said shows that it was not well thought of or well put into composition. He just wanted to say out his mind, which wasn't okay. So it ended up in a ruckus, which wasn't okay still, and then he had to withdraw the case. Yeah.
Okay, but just a follow-up before I come to Laban is that, his actions notwithstanding, does his case have some merit? Is him saying that, you know what, my rights have been violated. I am a Ugandan citizen with the right to own a business, with the right to do this. Does the police have the right to seize his bidongo and his speakers and all that? So does he have merit vis-a-vis his actions? Yes, we all disagree. It was in contempt, but does he have a right before Yes,
I would say he still has a right because prior he was a very good musician in Uganda, and before he entered politics, I would say he was one of the top 3 big artists. So when he entered into politics and all this, everything played out in a different way. So I think he has a right. First of all, as a Ugandan, he has a right to justice because a lot of promoters, when he was a hot cake, a lot of promoters wanted to have him in different parts of Uganda. For example, Bajo, Abitex, all those guys had booked him so much. So I would say he made a lot.
Yeah.
He hasn't actually performed in Uganda. He performs abroad, but he hasn't performed here. So meaning he's being denied his right to work, to exercise his passion, and it doesn't play out so well.
Interesting. Laban, let me hear your own opinion.
First of all, before I say out my opinion, I want to first disagree with my comrades here. When you say indiscipline. I don't know, maybe we have different meanings of how we define indiscipline. At times when I come to courts of law, maybe I disagree with the judgment or in which my case has been heard. I don't know if that one is defined as indiscipline.
I use the word indiscipline.
Indiscipline, I don't think that. I think when you say indiscipline, I really don't get it that he misbehaved. I don't know. I don't know how we can define that, because you are when a person who has been refusing to work, that is his source of income. That is his source of income. He has been refusing to work. His case has been for over 5 years. In the case it was you.
No.
How do you react? But I don't want to, that word indiscipline, unless it has a different meaning that I don't understand. Because he presented his case, he said, because I don't think him mentioning a word that the commission lacks impartiality, it defined that as indiscipline. Him making a decision to withdraw his petition, I don't think that one should define him as an indisciplined citizen of the Republic of Uganda. Vesige has the same case. That since 2016, there has been an adjustment in the same. His case. Up to now, it is coming to close to 10 years. He has never had. But also now, my opinion here. I don't think that a one Bobi Wine, okay, Chaguraj, Bobi Wine, or one Dr. Chiza message, they go to the commission to get justice. No.
What is their purpose?
I think the purpose is different. That you know what? Let's go there, because at one time. Because at one time, if you have to, if those people have to account for everything that what happened during their tenure, it will be on record. That this is what, because nothing will be on record if you don't go to where you must receive justice. But I don't think their mission is to receive justice.
So it's about
for 10 years.
Exposure of the.
I don't think even the petition, the electoral petition that His Excellency Bobi Wine dodged, I don't think he expected to receive justice. So it is all about the question of politics. I also don't think that the commission makes any independent decisions. You have been seeing how the attack on judiciary have been seen. That some decisions in judiciary are not made on personal or as per the constitution in what it directs. Before someone makes, I don't want to attack people here, but before someone makes a decision, you have to first receive a call that should we send this one on remand or we give him a bond.
Okay. You know, those are allegations.
Yes, of course. But you know what is happening, you guys. Not even allegation. These are some of them are facts. Some of them are facts. We have seen precedents. Yes, we have seen precedents. So the commission at times you just bear with them, you say, let's pray. But all in all, it's about the governance system in Uganda. That is the, whether it is, today it may be Bobi Wine, tomorrow it may be the people who are doing so. Because as long as we don't look at our governance systems, in terms of decisions, how are they made? Are they made on the direction of those who have their power in their hands, not in the population? Or the decisions are made as per the constitution. As long as the constitution is not respected, we shall witness that, even in the post-Museveni era, it will be there as long as there is no systems of governance.
Actually, someone said sometime that laws are tools used by those in power to keep them there and to
some states.
Yeah. So
to some states, but to different developed countries, I don't think they are used by those to keep them in the state. That's why you hear that here in South Africa, the speaker has made these remarks, leave. You have to resign. Because it's because of their governance system that you have done this, leave.
Yeah,
but you can imagine, Uganda, can it happen?
I get you.
But let's disagree. If I disagree with you, Aijuka, I don't think that is indiscipline, that a person is in. Actually, we have seen even people who have done before the court so big things that are not even supposed to be done in courts of law. But the person disagreed and needs communication. Because I listened that the commission has lacked impartiality in hearing our case. Now it's almost 5 years. We cannot hear this. So we are withholding our petition, this and this. So I don't know what you call. I know the background you come from because of the raw background. So I understand that you lawyers, you always want to respect.
I think Aijuka's point was coming from the
law,
from the point of
the conduct,
the rules of procedure of court. That a court has rules that rules under which it operates. And that is what should guide anyone who is appearing before the courts of law.
So if someone,
that's why if you act in contempt, then court has mandate to actually punish you for that, because there are certain rules that guide the way you operate when you're in the court.
But if you disagree with the decision of the operation in which the court is conducting,
there are modes through which you disagree with.
Does it mean that you are indisciplined?
I need to respond to that.
I think you need to clarify on the indiscipline part.
I was explaining to you that when you come to a court of law or any quasi-judicial body, the first, what it means primarily, in ordinary sense, it's that between you and the entity or the person that you're saying has done X, Y, and Z, the conflict between you cannot be settled interperson. You understand? If Kidega will disagree today, and our conflict cannot be resolved between us, you give me your car, I use it for something, you never see it again. And we talk as friends, but I cannot bring it back to you, and I demonstrate that I'm not ready to bring it back to you. The purpose of involving court or any judicial body, even if it's a chairperson, you'll see one, is an expectation that I'm involving a third party. Now, when you're involving a third party, you do not bring in those emotions to that third party. But I also reserved my comments in saying that in such kinds of bodies, when there are those factors that affect decision making, that influence, I used the word indiscipline intentionally. Why? When you say contempt, it sounds too technical. But contempt of court, any manner in which you conduct yourself before a judicial body, that in the mind of court appears that it is not worthwhile before a third party to whom you have come to help you resolve your conflict. Because our expectation when you're coming to court, you don't go there expecting that person must decide in your favor. No. If you seek neutrality, don't think that you must come and go with the decision in your favor. That's not how judicial bodies operate. And on the other hand, if you look at Male Mabirizi, how long was he in prison? Do you know why? When he got emotional and started abusing justices of the Supreme Court, inferring so many things
Yes,
of
abuse is discipline.
infidelity and so on. I'm trying to demonstrate the levels of indiscipline. When you come to a court and you allege bias, what it means is that the judicial officer before you cannot afford natural justice where there shouldn't be bias, meaning you're seeking that that person or that individual should leave. But when you're conclusive that the body before which I have come is biased, the first question that arises, if I was in that position, is, why did you come here? You understand? There are avenues to which you can challenge the Human Rights Commission and how it conducts itself. You understand? If you say that there is bias, there are routes you can take, say, and prove that bias. If you're saying they are politically influenced and they are not, they are impartial, there are ways through which you can go and challenge. But you do not come before the same court. The matter is between me and Kidega. Now I turn it between me and the presiding officer. I do not have that leverage.
I think because he was doing that because of some statement the chairperson, Madam Wangadia, made prior, some days back, in terms of the disappearance of the NOPSA. So I think because, you are at the middle of this, then you are also the commission, someone is making political statement, yet you are in charge of some things, so you just know that this one is already biased. Because if you are a judge, you are in the middle of the case, but you come out to make political statement.
Which political statement?
But you heard about them.
I think when the commission said that they are not aware about the alleged, like the NUP list that was submitted to the commission, they said that the commission people don't exist. Yes.
Yet in parliament it is different. They are representing the people.
When you have a conflict between you, I am a judicial officer. I am not aware of it until it comes to me officially. You understand? Whereas I might be your neighbor, even if we sleep in the same house. If I'm speaking in the capacity of the chairperson of that commission, and you ask me in that capacity whether I know, the statement I have to make in that very capacity is that the commission doesn't know.
Okay, maybe does this go to the cornerstone of the effectiveness of the commission? Because ideally, the commission should have an infrastructure that enables it to investigate. That if a complaint comes and you are saying, okay, there are people who are missing, and here is the list, the commission should have the capacity, it should have the infrastructure, it should have the resources to go ahead and investigate and actually find out, are these people actually missing or they don't exist? Like I said.
The commission can't generate its own cases. You understand? Yes, it is out there in the public.
I get your
unless it comes,
argument.
It can't force itself.
It cannot investigate
the
matter.
As I said.
No, the commission has other structures that do investigation in matters that are in that category. But when it comes to the Human Rights Commission Tribunal, per se, even if you say the High Court, you cannot hear the judge of the High Court say that we have heard that Kyagulanyi has been arrested. So, we are issuing this and that.
Okay, so meaning you're saying that even before the commission, the onus is on the complainant
to prove their case. Not to come out politically.
Okay, but can't the commission act proprio motu on its own motion?
No, that is unfairness to the other party. Because now at that time, the judge or the person making the decision has descended into the arena of litigation.
But as I said, you have to understand what are the intentions. And I think even the chairperson, that's why he lost it. Also, she went emotional. Because I understand that she knows the reason as to why Kyagulanyi came to the tribunal. At heart, she knows. Even she knows, even when the message case was adjourned, I think she knows why those people came to the tribunal. And she knows that they will not get justice.
Now, That chairperson cannot allow to be used by either the opposition at the same time. Because what Chagulanyi was trying to do.
So you have to, she knows that they will not get justice. Even you here.
That is to say that the commission lacks faith in its own soul. That they don't get justice.
Because the power is somewhere else.
To me, that
That
kind
here
of
we can be here, we are talking, but people, the power, because the power is somewhere else. In this country, people have.
to me, that analysis comes from a point of an assumption that such a commission was put there by the government.
And you see how the
itself.
country is being run.
Doris,
You have seen how the country is being run.
Doris, hearing these two gentlemen, what is your own take?
So first,
More so about the effectiveness of the commission, because today it might be person X, tomorrow it could be me or you.
Yeah.
So we need an effective human rights commission that can indeed render justice. So on the aspect of its effectiveness, what needs to be done? Is it about the appointment? Is it about the money? I don't know.
okay, so first I want to go back to what he said, that he doesn't take it as an indiscipline case, but I want us to first understand that every place, every institution, like even from your homes, you have rules, you have ways you conduct yourselves in your different homes. So when you come to the court, there are things that you're expected to do, there are things you aren't expected to do. And of course, Honorable Chagulanyi was not expected to be bashing at the judge, because they came for, how do they say it, an amicable way to solve this. So if you're going to solve something, you don't need to come off so defensive. It required an open mind, and as I said before, two emotional people cannot solve anything. And I have that feeling that he came ready to do whatever he did at the court, because he had never been given an opportunity to express himself in court regarding that matter. This was the first time he was talking about it. So he talked about it. He had to argue about it in a very assertive manner that is not allowed in court. Yeah. So we can't say it wasn't a case of indiscipline, because the lady in charge takes it as a matter of indiscipline. So we can't beat around the bush and say, oh, he was emotional. Yes, he was emotional, but he wasn't expected to act in that manner. Now, having had these two gentlemen talk about
the effectiveness of the commission.
The effectiveness of the commission, would say we can't judge now, because now the case has been withdrawn, but
I mean, there are other cases that have been filed before it.
10 years, it's coming to 10 years.
So,
I think even some cases you will find that even the petition has died. Not so?
Yeah.
So the general effectiveness of the commission, does it go down to the mode of appointment of these commissioners? Should it be a more transparent process? Should it be, because there are those who propose that the commission should have appointees from political parties, that there at least there will be checks and balances. All these opinions, all these opinions are out there. That let a political party appoint. You're sure that the person of say NUP or FDC will at least try to check. So all these are thoughts out there that how best can we make this commission much more independent, impartial, so that tomorrow when any of us finds, because we are all candidates candidates for victims before the courts of law. So we should all strive to have an impartial, system, right, whereby you're sure you'll get justice. So I don't know, just in 30 seconds each, because we have to take a short break, is that just highlight what can we do for the commission to be more effective? Is it about the appointment, and if so, how? So I'll begin with you, Allan, as I come towards this in just 30 seconds each.
Well, like I noted, I gave you an example of Rosira and how people end up on remand for quite a long time. And this is not just for people on remand. There are matters in court. Land matters can spend 20 years in court. And even, like he said, someone can die, then, the matter has to be taken on by a relative. The issue is the courts themselves. I think later we'll be debating about the budget and so on, and how well the human resource they have. There are proposals to increase the judges and so on. But zeroing down to the commission, how many commissioners do we have? How many branches do we have of the commission that make the determination? Because making a decision requires thorough understanding of someone's matter. Whereas the population might conceive an opinion with regard to how Chagurani's property was apprehended. One, if police has authority and a mandate to, preventatively arrest something or someone. If police, under the law, has the mandate to do things. If it does something, the questions that arise, was it done in accordance with the law? That is a question of proof. So, the effectiveness is usually tested on conclusively how was the matter reached. Was there, was there consideration of what was brought? That's the purpose why you even see appeals. A matter was brought, a decision was made, you contest it, you appeal. At the end of the day, you prove that actually there was no impartiality here. Because if you're saying that every matter you bring to court, you bring it with an ulterior motive, I want to prove that this commission has an issue. In my opinion, if I also conceive it in your submissions, it means that before you, at that time, you are my judge. You are here to judge me. If you really want to judge me, go to another avenue and make the determination. But on effectiveness, the Human Rights Commission needs to be further reinforced. Manpower, with all the means necessary, the infrastructure that is necessary. Usually talk about the structures and so on. The structure of the commission, if it is to be more effective, it must be, further buttressed, both legally in the law, given more mandate, and at the same time, manpower. Because at the same time, you go to the commission and you count the number of people that have been appointed commissioners and how many cases they can determine. If a matter comes before me, you've been in your conflict for a year. That's how you have brought it after a year, after 3 months. I don't know what transpired in those 3 months. And at that point, I need to understand that, step by step. I cannot come off having looked at you to be more emotional and I determine that you are the best in understanding this thing. So in my opinion, we cannot judge effectiveness on the premise that someone came off with emotions and politics before a tribunal that they came to resolve their conflict. But we look at now the technical arrangement of the commission and see the loopholes, and that's what we resolve.
Okay, fair enough. Doris?
Well, I think us from our side, I can't really judge the effectiveness of the whole structure because people keep complaining day in, day out. But the onus now comes back to the people in authority to real prove that they're doing the right thing. Because day in, day out, Ugandans keep complaining there's no justice, there are a lot of loopholes around, and I would say it's unfair to them. And unfair to Ugandans as well. It's a 50-50 because by the time people think and see it and they talk about it, meaning probably it exists. So we challenge the people in authority more to prove that they can do better, to prove that people can be served with justice in Uganda, regardless of who is ruling, regardless of your political party, regardless of who you are. The people in authority have to do it to prove Ugandans that they're doing the right thing. Because all the time they keep saying, we are here to enforce law, we are here to do this, we are for Ugandans, we are for people, but what they're doing controversial to whatever they're saying. So we can say so much, but we can only do less. We can even suggest much, which will never be done, but we need to just challenge the people in authority to do better, regardless of who appointed them. They should just do better at their places of enforcement. That's
Wow.
what I can say.
Yeah, to whom much is given, much is expected.
Yeah.
That's even in the Bible. Yes, Laban.
I think to me it's not about having of course, the human resource in both the judicial system and everything is needed. But the most important issue, we are to have independent commissions, independent courts that will always make decision on an independent basis. We need to go back and look at the Constitutional Review Commission. We do constitutional review. Okay, to have system of governance that are respected, that they will always make decisions on an independent basis, not by the influence of those.
You're taking us into a new conversation. Because
but that is what should be done, constitutional review.
Because the Constitution as in itself, actually it's a fantastic document. Except for one or two things that you can change, but our Constitution.
But in terms of looking how people are appointed, the way you are appointed, can you make independent decision without duress? You know, sometimes they will tell you that you better put you on Uganda rather than making such decisions. You have seen it, not only even in the judicial system, but look even in parliament. Sometimes the decisions are made, but they are made not because of those who have authority in the parliament. People will say, how was this decision made? Even the people who are supposed to make a decision, they did. It was made somewhere in hotels.
The nays have it.
The men have it. So people come with a predetermined decisions. Whether for you is supposed to make a decision, the decision has been made months back.
Wow, fantastic. We are due for a short commercial break. And to all the viewers joining us this afternoon, it's a pleasure. Don't move a muscle because more to come after this break.
Digital rights are those human rights and legal rights that allow individuals to access, use, create and publish digital media or to access and use computers, other electronic devices and telecommunication networks. Digital rights include a right to freedom of expression, information and communication through technology, a right to privacy and data protection, a right to credit for personal works, a right to universal and equal digital access, a right to identity, a right to anonymity, a right to be forgotten, and a right for protection of minors, among others. The state's digital rights are frequently violated through various unfair actions, for example, blockage of websites and social networks, theft of credentials, unauthorized use of people's data for personal gain, privacy intrusion, online censorship, arrests and intimidation of online users, internet blockages, and the proliferation of laws and regulations that undermine the potential of technology to drive social, economic, and political development worldwide. It is hence every citizen's responsibility to respect rights of other digital users and to speak out or report to the responsible parties when one's rights are violated.
We'll be back from that short commercial break. Phase 2 shall delve into our financial year budget for 2024, 2025. A very ambitious budget of 72 trillion. Guys, I don't know, but this is really ambitious. Kato, let me give you the honors to kick us off with this budget discussion. Is it realistic?
That question is too huge for me. If I say, is it realistic? It's not, of course. I know the way Uganda does, we will not achieve that. Even when we had a budget of 40 to 52. That's 0.7 last financial year. You saw what happened. But I want to state that the budget process for the financial year 2024-2025, it has been chaotic. One. That every time we are saying decisions, abrupt decisions, that even MPs don't expect they are presented from Parliament. You ask, where do these issues come from? Are they from the informed view of, Is it maybe in Munyonyo there? By people who have powers, who want to have their shares on the budget, who are making this decision. But nevertheless, we saw first the budget process starting last year in August, September there, the first phase. Then we saw in November, December, the ministerial statement being laid in different committees of parliament. Then we saw in January the laying of the budgetary framework paper for the financial year 2024-2025 with the theme of modernization of Uganda's economy through commercial, then expanding and broadening service, industrialization, digital transformation, and market access. And we all know that that theme is anchored with the East African Community Agenda of recovering the economy and enhancing priority sectors for market access. So we saw that the budget framework paper that proposed, I think 54 point something billion. That was in January. Then they came up with, around March, they came up with another budget. That's why I'm saying it is a chaotic one, the process. Until last week we saw the budget before the appropriation bill. The day before, I think it was 17.
Wednesday.
That is mandated that before the budget is passed, the appropriation bill has to be passed. A budget of 72.13 trillion as our resource envelope for the financial year 2024.
Not resource envelope.
The actual budget.
That's the expenditure.
Expenditure.
Not the resource envelope.
Our resource envelope.
No. The resource envelope is...
53.
No,
The resource
the
envelope.
one which has been passed.
The resource envelope is what URA is going to collect, combined with what we are going to borrow. Now that makes the resource envelope.
You know what I'm saying?
72 trillion is our proposed expenditure.
It's the budget. No, not the budget, the national budget. Our resource. When I talk about our resource, everything combined there. It is 72. The budget will be what? 72. Both what we intended to collect, what we intended to borrow, everything. When I talk about the resource envelope, I'm talking about the worth of the budget. 72.1636 trillion, and 34.3, that is through appropriation, and the 38.4, I think 37.8, it is through statutory. When I talk about appropriation, that is the money that is available for the parliament, members of parliament to allocate or appropriate. Then the other one are mandated by the existing laws. For example, paying. That one has to be there. It is not allocated by members of parliament. So that is the two components within that budget. But we also saw that through that budget, 34 trillion almost is going for debt.
Debt refinancing.
Yeah.
The debt. You know, Uganda's debt now stands at almost 97 or something.
Haven't we exceeded the debt ceiling?
Or 52, the threshold.
I think I've exceeded it.
We are going to exceed because before it had reduced from 48.6 to 48.2. But now, because that's as per that's financial year, the Uganda's debt was standing at 8.80 point something trillion. But now, because of the proposed decision of the government to borrow more than 25 trillion from the proposed one, which was in the budget framework, the budget framework paper of 15. Now in this budget, the budget which they approved, it is more than 25 trillion that Uganda is going to borrow, and almost the money that the government intends to borrow from the commercial bank has increased so much. Actually, it may be around 20 point something trillion. That the money,
that is domestic borrowing.
Yes, which is a very risky decision. This is something that we have to look at. Our emphasis should be in this, as the young people.
I want to bring in Doris, because you've mentioned something very important. Doris, Kato tells us that we are going to see a government that is going to practice domestic borrowing. But, you know, this budget coming at the backdrop of the traders' strike and standoff, right? They are challenging the means through which URA intends to collect taxes. Now, do we see, because the question is, who is going to finance this budget? We cannot always look out for donors and things like that. We must be able to finance our own development, all right? And maybe that's where the aspect of being frugal comes in, that can we cut our coat according to our cloth? You see? So, but I mean, the aspect of domestic resource mobilization, does URA have the proper infrastructure? Does URA, tax administration, can we mobilize this money within?
So first, I want to say the budget is too ambitious for a country like Uganda. So when you come to trying to raise up all that money and looking at the domestic income here in Uganda.
What's the URA target? 38?
Actually, let me tell you, it is, I think, 31.
31?
No,
But you see, now, for example, last year, through domestic revenue, that is tax and non-tax revenue, URA was supposed, their target estimate was around 28, 29 something trillion. But I can tell you, as the fourth quarter of this financial 2023-2024, the URA had a shortfall of more than 2 trillion that they couldn't. More than that, they couldn't collect.
So meaning URA collected around 25?
It has not even reached there.
Around 24?
Because I remember in the first 2 months of the first quarter of this financial year, URA had already had a shortfall of 600 billion. That's why you saw the letter from the Ramadan Go,
Yes.
Dr. Ramadan
Yes.
Go, saying, how are the workers in URA left? We want the commissioner Rwakoju to explain to us what is the shortfall of this. Now, you can imagine the demonstration by the traders in the Kampala. I am telling you, you see each day that passes.
Are they still demonstrating up to now?
No, but the recent, I don't know
Yes.
per now.
I think
I'm not their spokesperson. But the recent we have seen, for 1 week, I can tell you for 1 week, more than 1 trillion has been lost. Because each second that it goes, transaction is halted. So that means, because when you go to the supermarket you buy, that is how Makerere is getting.
Yes, true. Yes, Doris, Kato has sort of expanded on the point, but yes, to me the aspect of domestic resource mobilization is very key.
And I'll still say it's too ambitious to think that the people in Uganda can raise 3.2 something trillion towards the budget, and that's why URA has been quite tight. Like they're making sure they get that money from people, whereby the economy does not allow the people in business to thrive, to be able to put that on the table. But still, because it's in the plan, they show that they really expect this much from the people, which I'm not sure they'll be able to mobilize. I'm not really sure however much they'll try to put the taxes, to put systems. All that is good. It is good to put proper systems on how to track people's taxes, resources, how much a company gets, how much they're supposed to pay. All that is good, but the people. It's like milking a cow which has no milk. And that's what the economy is currently. Few people are thriving, and we are not yet sure how it's going to go because prices keep changing day in, day out. So I would say it's too ambitious. It's a bit unrealistic to put that whole burden on Ugandans. And again, it doesn't encourage us to keep borrowing or to put money, to put plans of expecting more grants, yet Uganda is standing at a place where everyone's eyes is on it. So, in my opinion, that doesn't play out well.
Okay, interesting. Allan, just a continuation from what I asked her is that the aspect of domestic resource mobilization is linked with the issue of compliance. That if you're to generate resources, if you're to generate taxes, you must have a compliant
strategy
population. Like the people who are supposed to pay these taxes must be compliant. They shouldn't try, to avoid these taxes. But also, compliance is linked with services. That if people are not seeing services, then they'll ask themselves, why should we pay this money? So the question then is that how can URA realize, first of all, their target for next financial year? Because if they do, then maybe the budget is not so ambitious as you are saying. But if URA cannot even realize their target, then what is left of the budget is for us to borrow. And borrowing comes with conditions, comes with what? All that.
Even borrowing with the conditions.
Comes with strings.
Because now there's also, I remember that the World Bank has a decision to revise its portfolio to Uganda last year in August. Now even the Uganda sometimes that is now the only chance it has is to go to Chinese and others. We borrow at a very high interest rate.
Exim Bank. Yes, Allan. The budget vis-a-vis the URA
realization.
target. Yes.
Now, I'll start from the comment he was making. When the World Bank made its statement, the president said that we are going to discipline ourselves in matters of expenditure. A few weeks from that, that's when they paraded cars at Parliament to give former speakers. And a lot of money was being splashed out. That's how later on now we see people like Mpuga suffering because of eating part of that money.
They are suffering or they are enjoying?
No, of course, politically, in his political position, he's suffering because he has eaten like the way others have been eating. So because that's his response, have eaten the way the other people ate. So one, I will give someone money if they are promising to do for me something. For instance, on the first time, if they did it on the first,
there must be offer and acceptance.
Second, third, I really see that this person has been working. You invest where you see dividends. So as a citizenry, in countries where you find people are tax compliant, there is, the taxes they pay will come in handy with the services they get. There are countries where direct and indirect taxes might even be higher than what we pay here in Uganda.
But there is value.
But there is value for that which they contribute. I can tell you, Ugandans would be paying taxes if those taxes would make sense. From the manner in which this budget was made, the exaggeration of the figure. And really, they saw that this can't be realized. But
putting into perspective the upcoming AFCON competition that we intend to host, is part of that money going towards building infrastructure?
Actually.
Like I know, for example, that there are plans to put up Hoima, is it? Hoima Stadium, Akibua.
Actually, 600.
Maybe other things that we are not seeing that are
600 billion was appropriated in that budget for the construction of Hoima Stadium.
Even 2 trillion for, I think.
And then for Akibua?
No, the 2 trillion for a railway.
Standard gauge rail.
Standard gauge
Standard
railway.
gauge railway.
That one
Done from-
every year. Has been- every year you go to next last year budget. It was also there. So don't be surprised.
So what are the unique development areas that are causing the surge in the budget?
Payment of cultural leaders.
Yeah.
They want to pay cultural leaders.
No, but still, that cannot
Of course,
cause that
it,
kind of
it
surge.
starts from there. You see,
One by one
when,
makes a
when
man.
your mind is about how do I increase those to pay, or how do I increase how much to pay, of course there are those who are deserving of it. But at the end of the day, even those you're paying, you give them over and above
And then now
what
we
is
have,
realistic.
No, we have deputy RDCs.
Assistant.
Assistant
We have
RDCs.
deputy RDCs, we have assistant RDCs.
Who were,
be getting
who were
800,000
appointed when?
every month.
About
Yes.
a month ago?
Appointed
800,000.
last
About a
month.
month
They
ago.
will have, you'll find them with the cars later on. They are using government fuel, government vehicles. They will have offices. Assistants will have assistants. See, that's how it operates. They will be paying, you understand? They will also be receiving money to give out. Those kinds of
The money
things.
also to participate
So-
in a money practice or
So
the elections.
I think all in all, for URA, if someone was really realistic to guide as this appropriation was being made and the budgetary process, URA would have come clearly and say, we will not bring all this money we're talking about. I can't afford. The way you go to a shop and they show you something, you say this is 4 million. You know surely in your pocket you have 1.5. You say, I can't afford this. Is there something cheaper? You're being honest with yourself.
No, but I don't think you are so much...
because, okay, what's the implication of this, guys? Because Parliament has, I think they passed the bill, sorry, the tax regime on fuel to add the extra 100 shillings on fuel.
Yeah, 100 shillings.
It was
now
passed.
1,500.
Fuel, kerosene, and all those things. It means that the cost of production is going to go higher because transport is going to increase as a cost. So it means that even the commodities in the market are going to increase. So if you have an economy that is going to bite the population that much, then at the same time you expect them to commit more taxes, and you're heading for tough times.
But what I can tell you, this is what, there is something I wanted to say. You see, URA does not have that mandate to go to parliament that you are advising the parliament. For them, they are implementers. So URA, for them, they will do what the parliament expects. It doesn't matter whether they have a vote for, who is going to lose.
No,
But
which ministry are they under?
I think
Minister of
they are
Finance.
under Minister of Finance.
Yes.
For them,
So
they are
of course,
advised by TUC.
they can
But they give
advise-
reports.
They can
But
advise
you
the
see,
Minister
you
of
see,
Finance.
you know,
Minister of
you know,
Finance
you know.
deposits before Parliament.
You should you guys.
I don't think
we
they
should
are
understand.
incapacitated.
You
that they
should
cannot-
understand how they come to pass a budget there. Let me tell you what they do nowadays. Not even the people. They bring it to the budget committee, and the decision is already made in hotels.
They say we are adding this much.
This is what we are going to add. And even I don't think the chairperson of the committee usually makes a final decision. So this is something we have to understand. Let me tell you this. Government has proposed to borrow over 20 billion from the commercial bank.
28, I think.
One is going to the cost of capital is going to be high. Access to credit will be very hard. Then how do you expect? Now you are disempowering the private sector, but then you want to collect, you
More
are
taxes.
increasing more tax from the which URA has to collect. So at times you think that surely people who make this decision, do they have love for the country?
But aren't we headed for tough times, Doris?
They are very tough times.
Because
Surely
all
we
I'm seeing
are.
ahead of us are tough times. People need to buckle up.
Have you seen
Buckle
the
up,
current expenditure?
Put on your seatbelt, because if things are to happen the way they are happening now,
There is a man.
It's going to be tight.
There is a man.
It's going to be very
whose
tight.
name I've forgotten. In that budget, is taking a portion of 500 billion. Have you heard about that man? I don't not disclose his name, but he's taking in the whole budget. He's taking 500 billion.
Okay, but
as
guys,
one person.
why is it because Ugandans are so powerless now? Because all we can do
Yes,
is
they are
just
powerless.
lament.
Yes.
can't we hold these guys accountable? Because, like, who sits back and watches the country and go through what we are
You
going
won't hold
to do?
them accountable. They call it Corona and give you.
I don't know. No.
Yeah, yeah.
It seems now you are going into the panel bit, not the moderation bit.
I think
No, I'm being honest. Because, guys, I don't know, but put this into perspective, yeah? Like, put it into perspective. Things are going to be very, very
But
tough.
those are the things that, for example, the
Very,
National Youth
very
Council,
tough.
the chairperson should be coming
Very,
and
very
issue
tough.
a statement.
Very, very
But
tough. Because,
before,
look at all. Things are going to be very, very tough. Because,
you also say that they are going to be
yes,
very tough.
yes, they
I thought you don't say.
because you see, guys,
You people, I thought you
guys,
don't see.
because
They see, but
because-
You also see.
because I know there is a proposed, I think, I don't know how much billion for attack sugar. And you ask yourself, what does attack sugar do? Is it just a hemorrhaging platform or something? There is money proposed to go to there's this vaccine.
There's even
No,
the
but-
COVID, money for COVID.
Exactly.
For COVID, do you know that in that budget there is
They
money
are
for
still
COVID?
developing the vaccine.
But you see,
Guys, things are not
you see, and this is why this is what I've always said, that us the young people, we are here. This is our own country. Some decisions that are made, some of the time they don't affect them because for them they will have them. But now the next generation, because the trend will happen.
Because things are
But
very tough.
if we have the people, for example, you have the youth leaders who cannot come out to make even discussions about what is happening. I'm telling actually you can reach
Aren't
to
you one?
But I'm here to tell you, but I'm saying some youth leaders. I can tell I am one and I will come out say this and this and this. But how many do you know? No, I want to, we debate on it. We say, for example, we want to have, for example, the National Youth Council Executive, they are writing a statement, maybe, on how the budget for the young people.
Can we protest? Because I mean,
Yes.
can we have young people?
No,
in the
if-
country
if you make the
saying
statement,
that don't
won't get
pass
the
this,
money.
don't
you
pass
get-
this budget.
No.
And
How do you?
and we
Advocacy, yes, it is okay.
Yes.
It is okay.
President say no,
Yeah.
no, we can't accept this budget to be passed the way it is.
Yes,
Reverse it to
for the
its-
interest of the young people.
Because otherwise, guys,
What is actually
we are
I
going
wanted
mortgage
to
this
know.
country.
Now I wanted to know what is the budget for the young people through national.
We are
Council?
going to mortgage this
What
country.
is it?
Nothing has changed.
4 billion.
Nothing has changed.
It is 4 billion.
Nothing has changed.
I'm asking how much. No, you may have the information.
Kagwanja, why you asked you? Are you the one? Is that you? Are you the one that gave us?
Moderator, you may have the information that I don't
Who is
have.
that?
How much is it? You may have the information that I
I don't,
have.
please. I'm just a moderator of this
Yes,
show.
but do you have the information on what is the budget stream for the National Youth Council?
Kato, no, it's like not becoming that scene of
Okay,
Are
we
you
are
the
going
one?
to do research.
Is that
We are going to do research about the national.
Okay, but I can tell you that
Yeah.
nothing has increased.
Yes.
So nothing has changed in that regard. But I think the point that we are all agreeing on is that something needs to be done differently. Because otherwise, we are going to wake up one day and this country has been mortgaged. And China is coming and taking over everything. I'm telling
It
you.
has already been the debt that Uganda has. Each person is demanded, I think, around 2 million.
2
Each
million.
person in
Last time it was
Uganda.
1.8.
Each person. So that means
2 million.
is demanded 2 million each person. Even the person who is going to be born today, you will find the date. In Uganda, they are demanding.
You're born
The
in
person
debt.
who will be born today.
But no, the issue would not be our debt per se, because even America is highly indebted.
Yeah.
But I think, how do you use the money
The
that you borrow?
discipline, financial
How do
discipline.
No, but you see, even when it is
if you're
high,
borrowing to pay RDCs,
you see, let me tell you, even
As
when
some
it is
others,
highly
then
indebted, you know
it's a
what it
problem.
means is that you have a budget of 72 trillion, but almost half of it is going for debt finance. You know what it means? Even that is a very big impact on our economy. We are here still crying that people are unemployed. Here crying. You are here borrowing money that would in commercial bank that the young people can go and could have gone to go. Because The commercial bankers have borrowing the government, giving loan to government, not with the individuals. So how are we going to get credit?
Sure.
How are we going to get credit?
Guys, I don't know. We can go on, but let me give us each just 60 seconds to give us our parting shots on this particular topic of the budget. And perhaps if you could speak from a pragmatic point of what needs to be done. Because, guys, if you sit back and just watch this happening, we shall wake up one day when this country is, it's now a Chinese
Empire.
Chinese territory. Yeah, but yes, Allan, I'll begin with you as we move towards Kato. What solutions do you think we need to fast track?
You know, the number of debates that we usually go through, and when that question is asked, you feel you're just going to make statements, and at the end of the day, out there, things are frustrated. I wish these people could wake up. The issue is they eat, they become insensitive, reach an extent that they do not realize that such a kind of a budget, such kind of proposed expenditure, over and above what can be collected domestically, over and above or even exceeding what is expected of a debt, what you're borrowing, is impacting not just the people who are present today, but the future generation.
Yeah.
One thing is clear, that we need out there politicians and leaders who can fully open up and be honest with themselves. That such kind of, a budget does not represent us. Secondly, the role of the government, if they are ready to realize such kind of revenue to implement such a budget, is service delivery. If we see the services, we can freely pay the money. Some people have it, and they would even contribute over and above. The issue is, does it come with that value?
Yeah.
If I am paying taxes, but today I've bought a car, I'm using it on the road, it is going to be in a garage every weekend.
Yes, because of potholes.
What does it mean? What does it mean? I've paid the tax, again I'm paying costs for using the very road that they are claiming to have made.
True.
So it starts from the point of the politicians, the leaders who have the say to wake up. Secondly, it also comes back to, we need to see what we are paying for. Not just to hear about it, but the other thing is that as youth, we have an obligation to stand out. We shouldn't be manipulated. One of the things that hurts me most is that youth in our generation are manipulated to a point of losing, where you have autonomy to your thinking. People can be convinced to a level of doing the worst of the things I cannot explain here for the sake of money. Now, they even forget that from that very money they have given them, it is going back to the very person. It's a cycle. So I think if we can wake up from the manipulation as youth, we also stand up, we wake up. Because we are the next leaders and this country belongs to us. So we owe this to the future generations, that what they're going to find, it shall be blamed on us. When we were young, what did we do? Because when the people out there who are already mature enough, who have already amassed enough wealth, they do not care. Whether you pass a budget that is going to affect the businessmen in the Chikubo, for them they have businesses in high ends, they deal in exportation and importation, cross-border. But these guys will sit as a group of 100 people, fill up a container to bring commodities to Uganda. But someone who is filling up 10 containers at the same time, but they are paying the same tax. So I think it goes back to insensitivity and our obligation. When it comes to obligation, when we reach somewhere, especially politically,
shall be held accountable.
We forget.
Yeah.
So we shall be held accountable. We should stand on that obligation and remember that the country belongs to us. The decisions that we make today will affect us in the future.
Fantastic. Doris?
Yeah, I would like to urge us to be patriotic about our country, because that's where it all starts from. We have a lot of people who have been empowered with so much authority, but they don't, I would say they don't like the country, or they don't like the people in the country. They don't have that heart to feel people's pain, to see the struggles of Ugandans, so they can do anything as long as it enables them to get away with anything. So what can be done? As I said earlier, we have so many solutions of of how to maneuver over so many situations. But first, we need service delivery. The budget is good, but it's not fit for the country. It's not fit for us according to our current state. So we need to come up with better ways. And I think let's first, if we spent 52 point something last year and there was no, I would say, impact, we still talk about the potholes, we still talk about so many things that are not going right. We need the people in the system to game up on service delivery, because we can't be paying triple taxes everywhere. You pay for high education, you're paying high taxes, you're paying high health care, everywhere you're spending so much money. So Ugandans really maneuver through taxes because they know at certain point the money is going to be given back to the government. So I think we have to demand for proper services, proper service delivery in every aspect. If we are promised something, we should see that thing come to pass. For example, there are a lot of roads they keep putting in the budget, a lot of infrastructures that they keep putting in the budget after every other year, yet there is nothing that is done. We need a follow-up. We need people that will follow up to see, was this really done? We had this in a budget. Was it implemented? Was it put to use? If not, where did the money go? Was the money gotten?
Actually, that's done by the Auditor General, I think.
Yes,
Yeah.
so we need to challenge the people in authority to do better. And you asked as young people what can be done. We saw that mature people who went to Kololo to meet the president, the best thing they gave them was food. When you talk to all those business people, at the end of that day, all of them were giving reviews of, they gave us so much food, we had meals. They never talked about, nothing that they said was put into consideration, because they went to just switch their minds to buy the system that was being introduced. So as young people, I think the best thing we can do is to choose better. If we are given an opportunity to put people in authority who are patriotic, who are supportive, people who have the heart for the people and the country itself.
Fantastic. Laban.
I have two issues. Recently, I was listening to a session in Kenyan Parliament, and according to their finance bill, they proposed that starting with this new financial year, they are proposing that they will increase the threshold for VAT from 5 million to 8 million. That means around from 143 million Ugandan shillings to 230. Here we remember that the threshold for VAT is 150. So it is something that I urge the government through URA to make to look into our income tax laws, to make sure that they increase the threshold such that people can, because it is one of the issues that the traders were asking, why can't they? And really, it will help us in resource mobilization through revenue mobilization from URA, but also to urge URA to increase on ICT infrastructure, to make sure that we can hit the target of 31 trillion as our domestic revenue that is expected for this financial year. The second one is, of course, to always call upon the young people to come out. Let's have discussions. Let's continue the discussion of about this way in which the budget processes are done. The sham chaotic processes. Because it doesn't make sense if we come in July, the budget even has been read, then you are raising complaint. Does it make sense? But we expect through this budget to see every month, I think every quarter you will see supplementaries. Expect that.
On top of the 72 trillion.
Yeah. You just expect that. I can assure you.
There is the 3%.
Actually, even when this budget has passed, expect this month. Oh, they will be coming with a supplementary. We want this. Classified expenditure. Otherwise, it's a great pleasure to be here. Let's continue. But I'm waiting for you. Maybe we'll go and research and we'll know if our budget of the National Council was cut. Or how much is it?
We shall get time and go and research.
Yes.
All right, that brings us to the end of this Youth Roundtable episode. Many thanks to you, Council Aijuka. Many thanks to you, Doris, for your time. And from the National Youth Council, thank you very much, Kato, Laban. To the viewers, it's always our pleasure to have you every single Wednesday afternoon. And, you know, I always end with at least the words of one or two wise men. And today, I'll end with the words of Frantz Fanon in his book, Wretched of the Earth. And it tells us that, you know, every generation must identify its mission. The choice to fulfill this mission or to betray it is entirely up to them. So much is happening in the country, as you've heard, you have discussed, but I think the mantle is upon us as young people. Let's take up this mantle and be the voice of change, the voice of reason, and the voice where we want to see this country be in the next couple of years. Until next week, same time, same place, bye-bye.